Everybody, you should all get out your phones. Start taking photos. Take photos of yourself. Take photos of everybody up here. If you look at the comic, the contact information you're going to need is all in there. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating comics on Comic Life 3 by a company called Class. I had my sophomore students do it. It took them like 2 days. The last page is on that comic is a page from a young woman's comic that she is in the process of producing for my class. Whoa. I'm excited about technology, particularly electronic portfolios and comics. Why? Because it allows you to be creative and it allows you to critique. Creativity is a good thing. Your employers want you to be creative. That is your future employers. When you get a job after you graduate, that's sort of part of the plan here. And what you need to do is, in order to be creative, Finish. All right. I want you to tell stories using words and images. That's what it's called, comics. That's why Art Spiegelman of Mouse spells it C-O-M-I-X, the mix of words and images. Like I said, this is useful in terms of creativity as well as critique. My students tell their own stories. In the process, they critique the university. That's what I'm asking you to do.
Hey, all right, start it. So, you folks are living in the midst of the largest demographic shift in the history of humans on this planet. We are moving from rural to the urban context. For the first time in history, more than half the world's people live in cities. In places like China alone, 1.5 million people are moving from the rural context into the urban landscape every month. And by the time you are grandparents, there'll be 10 billion people on the planet. And at that point, about 80% will be living in cities. And when you think of all the cities that we've built so far on the planet, we haven't even built half of the urban capacity that we will need by the time you are grandparents. And so what that suggests to you is that in the context of sustainability and resilience, the future of sustainable and resilient cities is the biggest opportunity and the biggest need we have on the planet. And when we connect to our Jesuit ideals, we have a way of bringing earth care and concern for people around us into a technologically valid and critically necessary task. Go cities.
In 5 years, we will have forgotten about how much we hated or how much we loved President Obama's immigration reform. Instead, the intensity of our emotions over legalizing, among others, all those Central American children flocking to our border this summer will be replaced by a return to normal political partisan bickering at the mainstream political level. But in academia, we will be engaged in a more vivid and perhaps first-hand experience discussion of the still unfolding complex history of why Latin Americans are many times forced to choose to come to the United States. Beyond political debates on this topic in my field, academia in 5 years will also begin to benefit from the injection of an intellect, innovation, and passion that for too long has been locked outside of our arena, an arena that migrants historically have helped create.
I'm talking about 3D printing or rapid prototyping. It's a technology that was launched in 1989 and is revolutionizing the way the products are designed and manufactured in the world. And I think in the next few years it is going to have an impact of around $16 billion. And this technology is so great that you could see some of the samples over there that I used it to make things in a matter of minutes to hour in front of you. And more and more industries and nations are using it, and I think we all have to participate. Things are really exponentially going up in the world. And I'm absolutely convinced that we'll have a dramatic impact on the quality of life of the people of America and the world.
complete lack of preparation. Over the course of centuries, technology changed how we physically see the world. Of course, we started with our eyes, but then we added magnifying glasses and microscopes and telescopes and binoculars. We had wearable aids like glasses. We changed the surface of the eye through contact lenses and LASIK surgeries. And now, most recently, we have retinal implants to change how we see the world and maybe even cure blindness at one point. I'm here to suggest that the same thing is happening in how we access and see cyberspace. We began with fixed location mainframes and large desktops that we couldn't bring anywhere. Then we had laptops which we could put in any position. And then after that we had mobile devices, tablets and phablets and mobile phones. And now I'm suggesting that we're going to have the same progression. We're going to move internal, have contact lenses that have internet capability, and one day, finally, have chips implanted in the brain. I have 2 more sentences. Should I say them?
Yeah!
Chips implanted in the brain that will give us internet access and receive visual, auditory, and textual information through thought alone, and we will become the internet.
All right, the future of cinematic storytelling began with animation. I'm not talking about Disney. I'm talking about Roman Polanski's movie, The Pianist. That's right, an animated film. The entire Warsaw ghetto was computer generated. Moving on to 3D, Cameron, Avatar, Martin Scorsese, creating 3D as an active character in Hugo. Moving on to Peter Jackson, advancing frames from 24 frames per second to 48, creating more clarity. Moving on to Inarritu and a movie called Birdman. Go see it! The most significant movie of the decade. He has erased the line of cutting. He has created the illusion of an entire narrative in one take. And what that has accomplished is a hyper-realism, erasing increasingly the distance between the audience and what they see. Shut up. This is my moment. What they see between the audience and the film, it's being erased. In the future of cinematic storytelling, the audience will be in the movie. On one side of you, you will have Bogart. Here's looking at you, kid. On the other side, you'll have De Niro. You talking to me? Right in your face, Brando. Making an offer you can't refuse.